Alright, let's give this a go. So, hey Mason, if there's anything I don't do in this video or you need clarity on, just email me. So that's why I'm doing it now, so it's ahead of time. So hopefully I cover everything I'm supposed to and everything. So here we go, take one. So for my learning objectives, players will learn how the Black Death affected serfs economically. 2, players will learn how the plague spread along with medical practices to treat the plague. And thirdly, players will learn how religion played a major role in how people understood the world/play. So those were my 30 learning objectives. And now just kind of move on to the game. Let me switch here. So I'll be sending you 2 documents. So I have like a rules document, which is what I'm kind of going to go over now. And then I'm also going to have an answer key for the players that would use to check and see if they got the correct answer. And then 2, if you want more clarity on my questions, I did make a document. It was kind of like my outline of my questions, so I can send that to you as well if you need it. But anyway, so all players will try to survive the Black Death. Players will learn what it was like during the Black Death. Players will also learn medical practices that were performed to treat the plague, along with the effects the plague had on elite figures, religion, economics, and more. Will you have what it takes to survive the plague? Let's find out. So players will basically roll dice, well, a dice, sometimes 2, depending on the card you get, to move along the game board here. With the game board pieces I have 4 of them. There's 1. Here's another one. And basically what you'll do is, depending on what space you land on, so this is like the skulls are the plague spaces, so you'll draw a red card. And you'll either have to make a decision, which there can be 3 different decisions that you can make. And based off your decision, you'll look on the answer key, and whatever the decision is what the outcome will be. So, here, let me go to the surf card, because I'm thinking the first surf question. So, like, an example would be, the plague will soon reach your land. You are faced with a decision on what to do with you and your family. A, stay and farm your land. B, move and try to outrun the plague. Or C, move into the city to find work. And based off that decision, I have different outcomes. And for the answer key, so like if you chose A, the king rewards you by moving you up in rank to lord, and you may now roll with 2 dice to move around the board. If you chose answer B, you get to roll for 1 more round, but if you do not win the game in that roll, you die. So if you die, you go back to start. And if you answered C, you contracted the plague and died, and you must also go back to start. So kind of like a little bit of twist, since I was doing the adventure story. There's probably about, I don't know, 5 to 8 questions that are kind of like choice based. But the other types of questions are just kind of like factual based. And if a player rolls the dice and legs on a plague space, and if they answer correctly, they get to stay on that space. But let's say they miss it, they'd go back to where they were previously. Like I said, it could be a consequence or a reward. Some of the choice questions don't have a reward. They're all just consequences, so that's kind of makes it fun. So on the corners, I have different spaces. So I have like a church space. Let's see, a church space. And once you land on a church space, you have to draw a blue card. And most of the blue cards are kind of like, explains that the players are praying to God to stop the punishment, which is the Black Death. So you have to skip 2 rolls as you're giving a gift to God. Another one was, you are praying to Saint Sebastian to heal your family who has contracted the plague. Move straight to the plague max square. Kind of just showing that religion didn't necessarily Like, it's not, now that we know now that it's not gonna help with that, cure it. So just kind of showing players that in that sense. And then we have the plague mask. So you got, if you land on a plague mask on the top right corner, you draw a red card as well. These tinier, the full body plague spots, you instantly die and you have to go back to start. And then in the left corner we have the king corner, and you got to draw a king card when you land on it. Like an example I have, the king fled the kingdom to avoid the plague. He is willing to make a deal for you to stay and farm the land. He is willing to drastically drop your pay or your rent. You may roll with 2 dice until you win the game where the plague has killed you. So that's just kind of like an example there. And the goal of the game is to get around the board 3 times. And each time you go around, you get a gold coin. And the first one to get the 3 is the winner. And then, I don't even think I said this, but the green ones are serf spaces. So you got to answer questions about living as a serf. Kind of gives them a background of what serfdom was. And just kind of like the decisions they had to make during this time. And obviously I want the players to learn that, like, at the end of the plague, they actually they gained substantially economically, because their pay had to go up because labor was very low due to so many people dying. I talked about this in my presentation, and the directions and everything makes more sense. If you look at my answer key 2, I kind of go through and I explain kind of the reasoning why the answer is what it is, along with some just more information that I read about that the players necessarily might not just get out of the question. So I think the answer key is super important, because I just don't put the answer, I put kind of a little bit of info with it describing what's going on and what the players need to learn. Trying to see, what else do I have? Oh, another thing that I felt like was kind of confusing when I was typing it out. So if you land on these full body plague guys, it takes away all your coins for the game. So once you go around the board once, the coin can't be taken away from you even if you die. So it's like a fresh round. But if you land on this full body plague guys, like, you lose all your coins, just to make the game more exciting for future players to have. With me wanting to be a future educator, I could definitely see this as like a fun way for my students to, have a game and learn about the Black Death during this time. Let's see. Answer key, just like an example, like for question 2, I have the answer is B. But I explained, with a shortage of labor, serfs had to find ways to be more productive in their work. Horses allowed them to plow quicker. Along with that, during this time, they recently moved to a rotating field system, which allowed them to be more efficient as they got better results from their crops. So that just kind of explains why the answer is what it is, etc. So, yeah, it makes the game a fun, interactive game. I think that's basically all I need to cover. So if you have any questions, like I said, shoot me an email. I'm submitting this hopefully today, so that if there is an issue with anything, you can reach out. Love doing this project, really learned a lot. So see you on finals day.